The Rosie and Bill Show wish to thank our primary sponsors. The Malin Agency, located in Springfield, PA, where they take pride in exceeding expectations every time. Anthony DeCecco and our friends at Tennis Addiction are ready to serve all your tennis needs at their beautiful facility in Exton, PA.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Rosie and Bill Show. Our guests this week are living proof that music transcends times and brings generations together. Please welcome to the Rosie and Bill Show a young man who's known as the voice of tribute, Tommy Kono, his manager, Joey M., and a Philadelphia icon who's been bringing joy to fans for decades through his music, movies, and voice like silk, Frankie Avalon. Hi, gentlemen. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Rosie. Thank you, Bill. Nice to be able to be on your show. In the meantime, hello, Tommy. Hello, Joey. And we're here to have a good time and tell some stories and tell you exactly what we're doing.
Excellent. Yes. And before we begin, I do have something I have to say to you, Frankie, because it's so funny. Today, I was talking to my sisters because we had a snow day here. All right. I was off from work and they said, "Oh, what are you doing tonight?" I said, "We're shooting our show. Who are your guests?" And I told them. And my one sister, who's very shy, said, "Oh, wow, we used to watch his movies growing up and I love them. They're so wholesome. I still watch them." And my other sister got very giggly and she said, "Wow, he's awesome." And I said, when you say awesome, do you mean dreamy? And she said, "Well, more like swoon worthy."
Wow. Well, that's cool. Thank them. Yeah. How old will the girls be?
They're in their 50s, 60s.
Okay.
So yeah.
Oh, they're young. Yeah.
They're young. So, but anyway, so I figured I had to tell you
well,
that.
That's nice.
Good. Yeah, pass that along.
Tell them hello for me and thank you very much.
Oh, and my brother says hi too.
Hi, brother.
But he's not swooning. So, gentlemen, I have a question now. I know, Joey, when we spoke on the phone, you mentioned that you had reached out to Frankie and that Frankie had in the past had other offers to do some projects and had said no. But yet, Frankie, to this, you said yes. So what was it about Joey and Tommy that made you say yes to this project?
Okay, first of all, number one, Joey M. and I have been friends for 30 some years or whatever. And I respect him because Joey not only is a very talented chef with his restaurants and his foods, but he's also a very talented musical man himself as a vocalist. So I've always respected those elements of my friend Joey M. And when he came to me and said, "Frankie, I've got this young man who is really very talented, and I'd like to do something with you and him." So the more and more we talked about it, he started sending me a lot of material that Tommy C had been doing. And I just flipped over him because of the fact that he is talented. He's an extremely above board talent because of the fact that he has such a wonderful range in his vocal abilities. So the more and more we talked, we got some ideas together. And I said, I want to do this because I like his talent and I love you, Joey. And I think if we get the right kind of material on the right path, I think we're going to have fun. And that's the most important thing which I wanted to do is I wanted to have fun.
I'm sure this had to be a lot of fun. And Tommy, I can't help but think that this had to be a lot of fun for you. So what was it like having a chance to work with one of your heroes?
So when we did this, I was 26 years old, but I only recently just turned 27. Can you imagine a 26-year-old going into the recording studio, not just to sing a song, but to sing one of the biggest hits ever with Frankie Avalon? There's no words to describe that feeling, walking into a studio and having Frankie turn around and look at me and say, Tommy, the last time I was in a recording studio was 45 years ago, and he recorded the song that we actually did together. It was an amazing experience and probably one of the coolest things that has ever happened to me.
Well, you have to share the songs with our viewers. What songs did you record?
Well, there's part of the story now, Rosie. When in the conversations that we had, Joey said, I'm trying to figure out what songs that we could do with Tommy to bring the same kind of a success that you had with some of the great songs like Venus, which was the #1 song all over the world back in 1959. And another song which ended the decade of the 50s, which was called Why, and that became #1 again. And I've had, fortunately, about 39 chart records. So we're trying to decide and pick and choose and whatever. I said, wait a minute, Joey, I got an idea. Probably two of the most successful things that I've done in all of the songs that I've done that's recognizable from generation to generation and generation. I think these two songs are the ones to do. He said, what are they? I said, okay, the first one we should do is a song that I did in a film with John Travolta, Olivia Newton-John, and it is a masterpiece that's been going on for the last 45 years, Beauty School Dropout. And he said, that's a great idea. I said, I think so. And what we're going to do with it, Joey, I will do what I did, the same kind of a style that I did in the film, and being what his ability of new stuff today, the combination will be great. So we decided on that song. Then the next song, I said, well, what's the next one? I said, the next one is a song that I did in another motion picture. But by the way, if that's my dog, he's a very good singer. but the song from the picture, even though it was never a hit, but the picture plays constantly. It's another cult kind of a picture. The picture was called Beach Blanket Bingo, with my lovely Annette Funicello, that we did 7 of those pictures together. But all through the years, I do Beauty School Dropout for the past 45 years. And all through the years, I sing Beach Blanket Bingo, and I show film of Annette and myself as young people doing it. And every time I do that song, I look in the audience and they all sing along with it. It's like they've heard it like it was a #1 song. So I said, those are the 2 songs. And we went into the studio, and Joy was very important in the arrangement with Kip, I think is the fella's name, who arranged it. And I'm thrilled with it. It's fun. It's got the old and the new. And I think it's something that's really interesting.
Well, Frankie, did you all, and I can also address this to Tommy and Joey, what kind of new spin, if any, did you put on these 2 songs?
Well, that was up to, I really left that up to Joey and the A&R man, the guy who produced the record. And when they would send me the material that they were working on, I would okay it. I like this. I would then add a little something that I thought may be a little bit better for it, whatever. So we really communicated one another creatively to put it together. And it really came out, it's really wonderful. I mean, I'm very happy with it.
I remember Frankie saying on the phone, he wanted it completely different. He didn't want it to sound anything like the original. So Joey went to our arranger, Kit. I wasn't there for that conversation, but I mean, how did that even go?
Well, what happened was when we originally talked about it, Kit is like this. He wants to do things like yesterday, and he works on the arrangement, and he does the original arrangement again, but in a different feel, but pretty close. It was pretty close to it. So before I told Frankie what was going on, I'm listening to the arrangement, and Frankie's gone, Joe, I don't want to do it in the original way. So now we're pulling our hair and figuring now, how do you address this song that's such a classic song to go into a different direction? So the only thing that Frankie threw at me that day was, I want to hear on Beauty School Dropout, like, okay, yeah, maybe drop out, drop out, drop out. And I'm thinking, drop out, drop out, drop. What? I'm like lost myself. So I get Kid on the phone and I tell Kid, and I said, look, I said, Avalon's on the phone. He's telling me he wants to do drop out, drop out, drop out. And he does not want that feel. He wants to completely change the song. Kid says, oh my God. Well, anyhow, make a long story short, he starts working on, he sends me bits and pieces. Bingo. I sent it to Avalon and he said, Joe, I love it. Now, as we're going along, just when we recorded the song, we came to California, recorded the song. After a couple weeks go by, Frankie calls me and he says, what do you think if we add a rap to it? Now, I'm thinking, you got to be kidding me. I called Kid up again and I says,
But Joey,
yeah, go ahead.
Joey, you're jumping the gun.
Okay.
Beauty School doesn't have the rap. It's Speech Blanket Bingo.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. You're right. I'm sorry. Yes, you're
See?
right. See, you
I
got me.
told you. All
But
right.
he got the song. He loved the song, and we went to California and recorded 2 songs.
To reiterate what I said about the 2 songs, yeah, Beauty School has a wonderful feel, which I kept my same kind of a feel to it, and then with Tommy C, with him, it makes it the difference of what the original Beauty School is to the opposed to what we have with Tommy C and myself. Now, the Beach Blanket Bingo
into a rock song.
We turned into a rock song, and the thing was, Frankie sang the part the way it was done, but Tommy did the harmony of the song, and he took it up. Like if Frankie would say, "Baby, don't sweat it," and he would go, "Baby, don't sweat it," and this.
Just leave to sing it to me, Joe.
Listen, I mentored him for the past 6 years. He sounds good because I'm teaching him.
All right, so basically that's what we did with the 2 songs that we chose to do. And Kit, who was the arranger, he came up with a Beach Blanket Bingo. I'm telling you, it's a killer. I didn't expect the flavor and the feel that they took from Beach Blanket Bingo, as we did it in the film, on a whole different style, and it's really very good.
Which one of you was rapping in that song? Or both?
Not I.
None of us.
When we did Beach Blanket Bingo, the first version was, again, the way it was done originally. And I said to Kid, look, he's not going to accept this. Frankie's not going to accept this. You got to change it. So now he goes into a rock and roll feel. Tommy liked it. I wasn't crazy about it. Then he comes back to me and he says, what do you think of this? And he does a reggae. I said, now we're talking. So I said to him, and I said to Frankie, clear your head and step out of the box for a second and listen to this song and let the younger generation hear it. Okay? Even though Tommy's young, Tommy's an old soul. And
it did nothing for me.
And it did nothing for him. And I said, listen to me, I'm telling you, this thing's gonna work. So sure enough, we all agreed upon it. Frankie loved it, and we went forward. And we did this reggae song.
So when will these be available to fans? And how will they be able to listen to them or download them?
Well, believe it or not, we're doing a photo shoot. Now, all that we took with Frankie and Tommy, these guys were not posed or nothing. We just caught them at what they were doing, rehearsing, singing through the glass of the studio. I was on the other side of the glass, on the engineer's side, which was great. First time in my lifetime, I always was on the other side of the glass. We're recording. Now I was recording these guys. And I said, we need a promo shot. So Tommy just did his promo shots, and they're going to go to, they went to Frankie already, and Frankie's got to duplicate it in front of a green screen. And then once we get the promo shots, a national press release goes out, and then all these songs will be on every platform there is.
That's it.
For every platform
Everything,
out there,
you know,
it'll
just
be
streaming and downloading
streaming
it.
everywhere.
It'll all be available.
And it should be great. I can't imagine this not taking off, especially for him, for Frankie. After 45 years, that's news in itself.
Right.
45 years and going back into the studio at 60 years old, make you feel good, Frank.
Thank you.
And go back in the studio after 45 years and with a young kid, it's got to strike interest. And I think it's gonna blossom into something special. I really do.
We're hoping so.
So and that's where we're at. I mean, we're just weeks away from releasing this. So you guys are in the underground right now. You guys are there before the national press release gets this. So,
I'll say that, yeah, it's a great place to be, and we're really looking forward to listening to both songs, and we're very confident, as you are, Joey, that these songs are going to do very well, and I think they're going to have a very wide appeal. And you mentioned that, you know, it's Frankie's first time in the studio, 45 years, and Frankie, what I'd like to do just real quick is, I can't help but talk about this for a second because it's something that has blown me away for a long time. And that's the 4-year run that you had from 58 to 62, 31 charted singles, 2 number ones. You already mentioned, you know, Venus and Why in 59, of the last of that decade. I mean, looking back now, what was that run like? I mean, that to me is unimaginable to have that many charted singles in 4 years.
You know what, Bill? That's a very interesting question. A good question too. Usually, you know, I consider myself to be a recording artist, and I say that because if you last for 4 years, you are a recording artist. If you have 1 to 2 hits, a one-hit wonder, whatever it is, that's not a recording artist. It amazed me because of the fact that I grew as a recording artist. My first hit record was Dee Dee Dinah. Strictly a rock and roll kind of a thing. And after that, Gingerbread, but then I started to grow. Venus kind of changed my whole style, and Why was another kind of a style. Then I started making a lot of albums. I made about 15 or 18 or 20 albums or something like that. I don't know, a lot. And I went into all different songbook kinds of songs, you know, theme songs, motion pictures. So I was in the recording studio a lot, and also making a lot of films. I mean, I've done, I don't know how many pictures I've done, but in between, I was really a very busy guy, and also being married and raising 8 kids. That was another part of something that I've done in my career.
You sure were busy.
Yeah, I know.
Did you ever sleep?
Yeah, but you know, being so young at the time, don't forget, my first hit record was in 1958. I was 18 years old. And I'm doing one-nighters with Buddy Holly, with the Everly Brothers. You know, we're on a bus, not in a luxury bus. We're on a school bus, and we're doing one-nighters around and getting ourselves known and likable to people and kids. I became a teen idol. Now, whoever thought of that? I mean, I never thought. I went to South Philly High. Nobody screamed, but then all of a sudden, kids were screaming, this, that, whatever. Had the police to take me into places, take me out of places. It was just a whole different thing. And I really, my feeling in those days, how did you accept that? I was embarrassed. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do, you know. And I was really dedicated in doing my craft. I made a lot of great films with great directors, Academy Award winner directors. I can't remember the names right now. Norman Torog, who did Boys Town. Ray Milland, Academy Award winner, directed me. Otto Preminger. I mean, I made some very good films, aside from the Beach Party films, you know. Walter Pidge and I worked with Joan Fontaine, Academy Award winners. I was busy. I was into my craft. And of course, learning my craft. And also, like I said, with my wife, Kay, who was incredible, raising 8 children.
Yeah, and you know, Frankie, one last thing I'll say, you mentioned your films, and I remember reading at one point, it was a while back, but it's from the Alamo. It was apparently John Wayne made a comment that you better not cut any of those scenes out with Frankie in them. He wanted them as they were in the movie.
Yeah, you know, he was great to work with. He was a giant. I mean, he produced the film, The Alamo. He directed it. He starred in it. And his son, Michael Wayne, who also became a producer and produced a lot of his films, became my brother-in-law, because my wife, Kay, married her sister, Gretchen, married Michael Wayne. So we're part of the family there. I mean, John Wayne would come to my house. We became friends. It was great.
I have one more question, Frankie, and then Bill has something he wants to ask you, Tommy. You know, when Elvis Presley came home from the service, I understand that he was asked a question and said, how does it feel? You know, you're not number one anymore. Frankie Avalon's number one. Can you share what his response was to that, and how did it make you feel?
Well, it was reality. I was number one. When he came out, I think Venus was number one. We got along. I mean, Bobby Darin and I, we first met Elvis at Paramount Studios. I was doing a film and Bobby was doing a film and Elvis was doing a film. We had lunch together. We first met. We had a great rapport immediately and became friendly enough to be able to go to his home after on the weekends to play touch football and barbecue and kid around with Elvis. He was a great guy. He was so down to earth, and he just enjoyed telling stories about him as young and us being young guys too. So we related. It was a great experience. He was a neat guy.
Yeah. Tommy, I do have one last question I wanted to ask you, and it's, you know, it's clear, I think, and obviously it was clear to Joey M early on that you're an incredibly talented singer. And, you know, you mentioned earlier, you just turned 27. So
Yes.
what I'm curious about is, at your age, there's so many other genres or types of music that people your age are generally singing, yet you love this type of music. You really and truly do. And you're actually doing a lot to keep it alive and to keep it going. So what was it that appeals to you so much about this type of music?
Well, it's very simple, actually. The music of the 50s, 60s, and even the 70s. For one, you can understand everything they're saying. That's number one. Number two, it all has meaning. Everything has some sort of meaning behind it. And yeah, all music does. But it's just the fact that this music is related to so many memories for everybody. Even the younger generation. I mean, there's songs from the 50s and 60s that are now becoming popular again. And I'll say kids don't even know about it. And when they hear it, it's unbelievable. I recorded on my first album in 2020, Dream Lover by Bobby Darin. I can't tell you how many of my friends, and even people that are a little younger than I am, come up to me and say, that's one of my favorite songs after listening to you sing it. Never heard it, but now they heard it and they love it. And it's the coolest feeling for me at only 27 to bring that type of music to the younger generation.
Well, great music is great music, and that's interesting, you know, that it is standing the test of time, and that maybe, you know, you put your own flair to it or whatever, and it resonates with your generation. Joey, when you met Tommy or saw him perform, I mean, you book talent at your restaurant, at the festivals, you're a singer yourself. What was it about Tommy that made you say, hey, this kid's got it?
Remember, I'm right here.
When Tommy first came to me, he was only 8 years old. So I was on stage, and his grandfather asked me to let him say if he could sing. So, following a kid act is really tough because I stepped aside and let him sing. And he sang Blue Suede Shoes by Elvis, and he sang Luck Be a Lady by Sinatra. I got off the stage, he gets off the stage, and all I said to him, stick with it, kid. And about 12 years later, he comes back to the restaurant and he sings Caramia by Jay Black. And I heard this quality, but my God, listen to this voice. But I knew there was a lot of work involved. He wasn't just going to be able to step into these shoes. So I gave him a couple pointers, and he started coming around. And one day I said to him, I want you to sing Sherry by Frankie Avalon. Week later, he comes back and he sings it. I stopped dead in my shoes. And I heard him sing Elvis, from Elvis to singing falsetto, this baritone to go with falsetto. I said, oh my God. And I knew then that this kid had something. So we worked together. I got him some vocal lessons. I took him to a vocal coach, and we went forward. And, and that was it. So as the talent went on, and I have to go into another guy that Frankie's very close to, it was Bobby Rydell. And Rydell was sitting in the restaurant one day, and we had a courtyard. If you remember, in the small restaurant that I have, a little courtyard. And Tommy was singing in the courtyard, and he was singing Lightning Strikes by Lou Christie. Bobby said, who the hell is that? Is that a record? I said, no, it's a kid that I hired. But he couldn't believe it. I said, let's go out. So we went out. He loved the kid. Well, it led to Tommy's first duet, which was Sway. And no sooner we were getting out of the studio, he says to me, you think we could record with Frankie Avalon? I said, we didn't even get done this song yet. Let me just give me time. I will get to Frankie. And then I sent the video and the song to Frankie. And Frankie Jr. says, call my father. He wants to talk to me. And because I already knew what I was going to do, and Frankie already knew the game plan. And that was it. And then that's how Frankie came aboard. And that was it. That's where I heard his talent. And till today, we have to do songs that keep him fresh. And he never ceases to amaze me. He continues to go on and go on and go on and hit all these songs. And it's amazing. So that's where my love affair with Tommy came in, with the vocals. And I may be his mentor, I might be his biggest critic, but I am his biggest fan.
Oh, that's
And
great. I think Tommy's
Right.
blushing a little
And I'm in love with Tommy C. along with Thomas Caniglio, because they are two different people. We always say, and Frankie proved it to me one day. We were on the phone laying out the song for Beauty School Dropout, and Frankie said, he didn't say, when am I coming in? He said, when does Frankie Avalon come in? And I said to Tommy, that's the separation.
bit.
It's Francis Avalone at home.
Oh,
On that stage, he's Frankie Avalon. And to his friends, we know him as Frankie Avalon. And that's it. But I know a little bit about the personal guy, because I've been with Frankie for so many years. Met his mother, his sister. So, there's a little bit of a bond there. But that's it.
well, that's a great story, Joey, and thank you for sharing that. And it's really exciting. We can't wait to hear this music. And I do want to add that this group of us that is here right now definitely has a lot of admiration and respect for our fallen friend, Bobby Rydell, or Roberto Ridarelli, as he said when he came on the show. And Frankie, it was funny when he was on the show, we asked him about those years and how you two met and all of that. And then we said,
Bobby, who had, between Frankie and Fabian and you, who had the best hair?
Oh, Frankie.
oh yeah?
Oh my God. Oh my God. Everybody thinks that Frankie wears a hairpiece. They do. They think he's wearing a hairpiece, but no. That's his hair. He's got gorgeous hair. Gorgeous hair.
Got
I hate him. I hate him. Ow. He always complains, because he's got some curls in his hair, and he says, "Oh, my hair is all my." I say, "You dirty."
And he talked about Fred, his hair.
Yeah,
And
because he
would
was
hang
wearing
up-
a baseball hat and the piece was
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the bedroom.
Yeah. When we would be with the Golden Boys, it's Fabian and Rydell, we'd be in a van or going to the venue or whatever, and Bobby would sit in front and he'd take off his cap and he was like a cue ball, And I would say, "Who's that guy in the front seat there?" But we always and before we'd go on stage, he would come into my dressing room, and I always made sure that I would look at his hair as I'm talking to him, and he would always say to me, "How's the diabetes? Is it okay?" Because he would have the toupee on. We had great time. We were great friends. What a talent he was. God rest his soul. What a talent.
And I'm sure that was a big loss for you and for all of you here.
Yeah.
It really was. Now, gentlemen, I just have one last question I want to ask about this particular project. And that is, and I'm curious to get each of your perspectives on it, because it sounded earlier like I think everyone's confident this is going to be on all streaming platforms. Everybody's going to have a chance to listen to it, download it, do whatever. And we feel just from what we've said that it's going to be fantastic. But ultimately, in each of your perspectives, what do you think success would look like for this project?
Bill, I have no idea. I come from a different world. I don't know what streaming is, beaming, gleaming, gleaming, Lemons, Vavan. All I know is you put it out there, and if it's accepted, thank you, God. You never know. But at least we know that we're happy with it. And if you're happy with your work, that's a plus. Because a lot of times you're not. So that it's up to the public when they hear it to see.
Yeah, but Frank, I'll just say this from what you said, because you're happy with it, at least in my opinion, from your perspective, that truly is success. If you're happy with it, that's success, right, regardless of anything else. So any additional thoughts from Joey or Tommy on that?
The crazy thing is, we're not this big record label. We're not this big company that mass produces this music and sends it all over the world, in the form of vinyl records or CDs or anything like that. We're not Sony. We can't do any of that stuff. So every time we release music, just to have one person listen to it, that's it. That's all. Like Frankie said, we're happy with it. We're ecstatic with it. The product that we have, it's a different world, because there's no longer a tangible record to send out to disc jockeys to play. It's all a digital file that is just monitored to see how many times somebody clicks play rather. And it's the coolest thing to see that number slowly grow and grow and grow. And it's the coolest thing.
They give you a report on your streaming. You get a report, and you can see what is, how many hits you're getting on a play and stuff like that. So it is exciting. I mean, the goal here was, of course, having Frankie Avalon involved, and I can't see it not making it better for this guy. Attaching to Frankie's name is an accomplishment in itself. I mean, I am honored. When I got off the phone with Frankie and called him and told him, I was actually in tears. I said, Frankie Avalon wants to do this. I couldn't believe it, because I didn't know if Frankie was going to do it, because I already knew he had turned down a project. So now I was on first base. Now we're on second base. Now we're about to go to third base, and we'll see if we hit the home run. Because once we do the press release, we're going to see how far we can go with this. And it could, if it goes viral, it could go into the hundreds of millions of people. I mean, Cher just did it with her song. I mean, that's Cher, I understand, but it's Frankie Avalon also. And
Right.
she had, I don't know, 2 billion hits. It's a lot of hits. It's a lot of hits. This world is big. It's streaming. When we do years ago, and I grew up in that time when Frankie was talking about, we would talk about Jerry Blavat and stuff like that, the guys who made the records, who played these records and made it for these stars to be where they're at. But it was in the United States. Yeah, it got over to Europe eventually, but it was here. Now, the whole world could get.
Yeah, it's amazing. Just mind-boggling. Yeah.
It is mind-boggling. I mean, if it connects people all over, even me with my Facebook page. I look at my stats. I got people in Poland, Italy, Mexico, Puerto Rico that follow me. And that's amazing. That could never happen in
Right.
years ago when we did this stuff, So it's pretty amazing. And I'm bankrolling that it's successful for all of us. For Frankie, myself, and Tommy. And that's what I'm counting. So as being the producer on this is a big challenge. But if nothing happens, we could all go home and say, you know what? It was a great project.
Yeah, you
Right.
made good
That's
music. Right.
And, and my excitement was from the time we started till right now, and it's not over. I said, wait to this year. I said 23 was a hell of a ride. I said, wait to 24.
For me, if this project goes nowhere, I could still say that I used Frankie Avalon's bathroom. And that to me, success. That's it. That's all. That's it. I'm good.
That's why how many people could say they use Frankie Avalon's band?
I don't know. We'll give you a call when we come out to California, Frankie.
All right.
We were there. We ate right in that room right there where Frankie's at. He invited us over for dinner our first night.
That's
So, it
great.
was very
That's
gracious.
great. Well, guys, thank you so much for sharing that with
Rosie,
us.
Bill, thank you for having us. It was a pleasure, and you guys hit the questions perfectly today.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, and we really hope that this hits the ground running for you and that you're one click away from going viral and, just putting the icing on the cake that you've already baked with this. And we're intrigued. We can't wait to hear these 2 songs. Are you going to try and make a whole album out of this?
We don't know.
don't know
One thing
yet.
at a time.
We've definitely spoken about
We
it.
spoke about it a little bit. Frank
Yeah.
and I spoke a little bit about it. So, if this starts to move, I think then we'll go back in the studio and just knock out everything. You'll do some solo work, and then they'll do a couple more songs together.
Great.
That could be the possibility. Yes.
Great. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for your time. We
Thank
wish
you,
you all the
Rosie.
best.
Always
Thank
a
you.
pleasure. Thank you.
Yes.
Bill, thank you.
Rosie, thank you so much. Bill, thank you
Thanks,
so
brother.
much. I enjoyed being with you guys, and Tommy C and Joey M. Nice being together, talking about something that we have a passion for. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Thanks, Rosie. Thank you, Bill.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. And folks, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
This week's episode has been brought to you by Doherty & Company Insurance Services for all your business and personal insurance needs. Our friends at Tennis Addiction in Exton, PA. And the Malin Agency, where exceeding expectations is how they do business.